What is up, party people? My name is Daryl Wilson. Today in this video, I'll be walking you through how to build a professional and modern e-commerce website with WordPress step by step. So here's the e-commerce website that we will be making today in this video. Now, if you've always wanted to learn how to create an e-commerce website for the very first time and you're kind of tired of the runaround, then this tutorial is for you. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to create your own e-commerce websites and you'll also become a WordPress expert. And the great part is you don't need to have any experience with making websites because everything in this tutorial is done with a drag and drop builder, which makes it really easy to build your e-commerce websites. And as you can tell, this e-commerce website looks really professional and modern, and your visitors are really gonna enjoy shopping on your new e-commerce websites. So today I'll walk you through how to make an e-commerce website to fit your business needs. You can also sell any type of product you want on your e-commerce websites. You can sell digital books, art projects, gym products, pharmaceuticals. You can sell any type of product you want on your e-commerce website with no restrictions. But if you're brand new to WordPress, it might be confusing for first-time users, but that's where I come in. I've been using WordPress for more than 10 years, and I've built hundreds of e-commerce websites, including my own. My website, darylwilson.com, generates about $10,000 a month, and we'll be using the same platform and software to build your new e-commerce websites. And to make things simple, we'll be using a free drag and drop builder to build your e-commerce websites. You can simply drag elements onto the page, you can create columns, and then hit save, and you're done. It's great for beginners, and anyone can get started building their e-commerce websites. Those templates look pretty amazing, right? We'll talk more about how to import those later in the video, but let's get started. Let's go ahead now and build your new e-commerce websites. Now we are gonna break this video up into 5 different sections. In section 1, we'll get our domain and hosting. A domain is the name of your websites, like darylstore.com, and web hosting will host your website online 24 hours a day. In step 2, we'll import a free e-commerce template. We will import a free starter template and customize and design your new e-commerce websites. I'll walk you through how to use the free page builder and make your e-commerce website look stunning. In section 3, we'll add products. I'll walk you through how to create various types of products for your e-commerce store. I'll walk you through how to customize and design and style your products to fit your business culture. In section 4, the theme customizer. The theme customizer allows you to design your shop page, product pages, and other parts of your website. In section 5, the WooCommerce Settings. WooCommerce is the #1 best free plugin that allows us to add the e-commerce features for our WordPress websites. I'll walk you through how to adjust your shipping, set up taxes, and integrate multiple payment gateways like Stripe and PayPal. And by the end of this section, your e-commerce website will be live and accepting credit card payments from anywhere around the world. So with that said, let's get started. Now let's first go to step 1. Now there is a link in the video description. It'll take you to step 1, and that's to get your new domain and web hosting. Okay, now this is Hostinger.com. Now Hostinger.com is among the fastest and also the most reliable web hosting in the industry. They are also officially recommended by WordPress as well. Now before we begin, if you speak other various languages, here at the top under this little American flag banner, we'll click on English, and here you can switch to your native language. So if you speak Japanese or German or French or Thai, you can select your native language and the entire website will be translated to your native language. So here I'll close this. Now here I'll click on Claim Deal. Now here we have a few different plans. We have the Premium, the Business, and the Cloud Startup. Now I personally recommend to go with the Business plan. With the Business plan, you actually get more resources, more storage, and you can host more websites. And with the Basic plan, you only get SSD storage versus NVMe storage. If you're not sure what that means, just know that NVMe storage is 4 times faster than SSD. So as a result, your website will be a lot faster if you decide to go on the Business plan. And don't worry, you get a free domain, a big discount, and a 30-day money-back guarantee for any reason whatsoever. So once you decide on a plan, you'll then click on Choose Plan. Okay, now the next option you'll select is the period. So right here, if you click on this arrow, you'll see we have 48 months, 24 months, 12 months, and 1 month. I definitely recommend going with 12 months or more. This will actually apply the largest discount available, and you'll still get a free domain if you select more than 12 months. So go ahead and select the period, and on the right side, you'll see that we have this option for a coupon code. And don't worry, I got your back. If we scroll down right here and enter the coupon code Daryl10, we will save an additional 10% on top of the discount already available. So right here, I'll click on Apply. And there we go. So now we have 81% total in discounts, and you'll only pay $43 for the entire year, and that's all you're gonna pay. So once you enter in that coupon code, you'll then click on continue. Now the next step is you'll register for a Hostinger account. So right here, you'll enter in an email address and also a password. Once you enter in your email and your password, you'll then click on register. So next we're brought to our checkout page, and here we need to input our information for our billing address. So I'll go ahead and fill out my information. Okay, once you enter your billing address, you'll then click on continue. Next, you're brought to your payment method. So here you can pay with credit card, you can pay with MasterCard or Visa, American Express, or for those of you who have Discover, you can use a Discover card. Also, you can pay with PayPal, Google Pay, Apple Pay, and Alipay. So I'll go ahead and put in my credit card information. Okay, so once we fill out our credit card information, we'll then click on Submit Payments. All right, so after the payment page, it'll actually redirect us to the next page. Okay, so now we're gonna walk through the Hostinger wizard. So who is this website for? Well, it's for me or my business. I'll click on Next. Do you want to create or migrate a website? I want to click on Create a Website and click on Next. So next you'll create your login credentials, and this is what you're gonna use to log into WordPress. So make sure you write this down. You'll put in your email address and then also put in a password for WordPress, and then you'll click on Next. Next, they're asking us what kind of website we wanna build. We can actually click on Create a Blank Site and skip this section. So click on Create a Blank Site. So next you'll enter in the domain for your new website, and you get a free domain using our coupon code. So this is the domain name that people enter in the address bar when they're browsing the internet. So for example, I'll put darylstutorial.com. After we type that in, you'll see this is our free domain and it's currently available. So you'll go ahead and select your domain here, and then you'll click on Next. So next we're going to register your domain, and this is important because you're claiming ownership of this domain. So is this personal or is this a company? I'll select personal. You'll then select the country of where you registered this domain. So I'll put United States, and then I'll click on Next Step. And next you'll enter in your contact details. This is important because this lets people know who actually owns this domain. So if you ever want to sell your domain later or something, they're always going to look at your contact details. So go ahead and put in your first name, your last name, and your contact information. And once you're done, you'll then click on Finish Registration. So next you'll go ahead and select a server closest to your target audience. So if you're in the Americas, you'll go ahead and select United States. If you're in Europe, you'll select Germany, or if you're in South America, you'll select Brazil. This really isn't that important because you do get free CDNs with Hostinger, and that makes copies of your website and puts it on servers all around the world. So your website will still be fast regardless of your location. But in my instance, I'll go ahead and pick Arizona right here, and then I'll click on Next. So now Hostinger is going to install WordPress on our new domain. So just give this maybe like 1 or 2 minutes. And congratulations, this is now your new WordPress website. So this is Hostinger's welcome wizard where they're just saying, hey, get started with your website, and they offer some tutorials and all that cool stuff. Now, before going any further, I first want you all to check your email. So going over here to my Gmail, you're going to receive very important emails from Hostinger. The first thing that you're gonna do is verify your email address. This will make sure that you're a real person, and this will actually verify your email with Hostinger. So I'll go ahead and click on Verify Email. Okay, and this is the Hostinger dashboard, and this is where you can access the websites, you can make free business emails, and a whole lot more. We'll talk more about the Hostinger dashboard a little bit later, but let's go ahead and go back to the email. There is one more email that we also need to click on, and that's from Hostinger as well. Here, click on Inbox. You're going to want to verify your domain right here. So verify your email address to use your domain. I'll click on this, and then we'll click on Verify Email. So after you click on that link, our domain information has now been verified by Hostinger.com. So let's jump back to our WordPress dashboard. So here you'll see at the top, we have this preview domain. Now, in order to access your website and get out of preview mode, all you gotta do is type in your domain name. So type in darylstutorial.com. And this is now your new domain where you see it's live on the internet. Now, if you ever want to log into your WordPress website, there's 2 ways to do this. You can either do this through the Hostinger dashboard. I actually do this quite often because I get very lazy and I forget passwords really easily. All you'll do is go over here to the website tab, and then you'll see your domain, and you can just click on WordPress admin, and this will log you directly into your website. And just like that, we are now logged into WordPress, and you'll see that we are now using our live domain on the internet. And if I click on visit site right here, you'll go ahead and see a copy of our websites. So next, let me show you all how to log into WordPress using your browser. So here you'll enter in your domain name and then you'll enter -wp-admin, and this will bring you to the WordPress login screen. So I'll press enter. This is where you're going to enter in your credentials. You'll enter in your email and your password. So just remember, these are the credentials that you created when you installed WordPress. So I'll go ahead and click on Remember Me, and then I'll click on Login. So that's how you can log in and log out of WordPress so you can work on your website from any location. So next, let's go ahead and talk about the WordPress dashboard. So here you'll go ahead and see a list of your pages. So if I click on all pages right here, you'll see a list of all of your pages. These are just demo pages, so you can just go ahead and delete these pages if you don't want them. Also for posts, the same thing for posts. These are a list of all of your blog posts, and you always get this cool one called Hello World, which is just an introduction to the blog, but we can go ahead and also trash this. So I'll click on trash. And that's how you can delete pages from your websites. So let's go ahead now and jump into the important WordPress options. So let's go ahead and go over here to users and click on profile. So the first thing you can do is you can go ahead and change the backend color scheme of your websites. So if you like blue or coffee or midnights, you can go ahead and select one of these colors. I do like midnights. I feel like this is easier on the eye, right? If you scroll down, you'll see this is where you can change your email. So if you ever forget your password for WordPress, it'll always be sent to this email. So make sure you have access to it. We'll go ahead and scroll down. Now, if you ever want to change your password for WordPress, you'll go ahead and click on Set New Password. And then you'll enter in a new password for WordPress right here. Once you're done with those options, we'll then click on Update Profile. Next, let's go ahead and go over here to Settings, and let's click on General. Now, the first thing is you can give your website a name. So I'm going to put Daryl's Store, right? And then you have a tagline. This is kind of like the tagline of your website. You know how Nike has Just Do It, right? You can put a tagline if you want, or you can leave it blank. You can also upload a site icon, and this appears at the top of browsers when people visit your websites. And scrolling down, you can always adjust your email address again right here. Now, for those of you who speak various languages, you can actually change the backend of WordPress to your native language. So if you speak Chinese or Russian or Dutch or Spanish, you can go ahead and select the language right here, and the entire backend will change to your native language. Once you're done with those options, we'll then scroll to the bottom and then click on Save Changes. Okay, now there's two more options that I do want to check. Let's go ahead and click on the Discussion tab right here. Now, WordPress started off as a blog, so people typically are going to leave comments on your websites, but that's really annoying. So right here, I'll click on Allow People to Submit Comments. This typically will allow people to spam your website with like Viagra pills and all sorts of crazy stuff. So make sure you uncheck that box, scroll to the bottom, and then click on Save Changes. And the very last option before we design our website is permalinks. So right here, I'll click on permalinks. Now you always want to change the permalink structure to post name. This is optimal for SEO and it's a lot cleaner. You'll see these other links right here are really messy with the date and all this unnecessary information. Post name is actually optimal for SEO and is the best setting for your permalink structure. So go ahead and select post name, scroll to the bottom and click on Save Changes. Okay, now let's go ahead and click on our dashboard. All right, congratulations on your new domain and hosting. It's really simple, right? Hosting makes things like stupid proof, right? Now in this next section of the video, I'll walk you through the general settings. We'll install a WordPress theme and then we'll import a starter template. So by the end of this section, we're gonna fully adjust our WordPress settings and have a really nice looking templates on our new websites. Y'all ready? Let's go. All right, so now let me talk about quickly what are WordPress themes and plugins. First, let's go over here to plugins and click on Add New Plugin. So let me explain what is a WordPress plugin. Next, what is a WordPress plugin? WordPress is the #1 CMS in the world, mainly due to the plugin market. There are more than 50,000 plugins available for you to use in the WordPress ecosystem. A WordPress plugin adds extra functionality to your WordPress websites. For example, if you want to integrate a contact form, you can install a plugin to generate a contact form. There's also plugins for integrating e-commerce functionality and also SEO plugins for optimizing your website for the Google search results. Think of a WordPress plugin like apps for your smartphone. Any type of functionality you want to add, you can simply download it to your WordPress website. All the plugins are free with WordPress and offer a pro version available on the developers' websites. Feel free to explore plugins to see what kind of functionality you want to add for your WordPress website. So for example, over here in the search plugins, if you type in SEO, you'll get a list of plugins that can help optimize your website for the Google search results. We have Yoast, Rank Math, and All-in-One SEO. These are some of the most popular SEO plugins for WordPress. Also, if we type in something like contact, you'll also get a list of available contact forms you can embed on your website, such as Contact Form 7, WP Forms, and also Forminator. So feel free on your own time to explore the WordPress ecosystem to find a plugin that best suits your websites. Now let's talk about what is a WordPress theme. So first, let's go over here to Appearance and click on Themes. At the top, I'll click on Add New Theme. So here's a list of available WordPress themes. So let me explain what a WordPress theme is and what does it do for your website. What is a WordPress theme? Every website with WordPress requires a WordPress theme. Think of a WordPress theme like a shell of your websites. It's what makes your website look unique and gives it a specific style. A WordPress theme controls various parts of your website like the header, the footer, the blog page, and the shop page of your websites. A WordPress theme does not create the content of your actual website, but is more of an outside shell for the page builders to add all the content within your websites. Each of these WordPress themes are free to use and offer a limited amount of features, but are still generous for what they offer. Each WordPress theme has a pro version which you can upgrade through their websites, and the pricing varies between themes. Feel free to explore themes and see which one works best for your websites. You got that? So a WordPress theme generally controls parts of the website like the header, the footer, the shop page, and also product pages as well. Now under search themes, we're going to type in Blocksy. Now this is the #1 best free e-commerce theme for WordPress. It has tons of styling options for your shop page and also your product pages as well. You're going to love it. Now under the Blocksy theme, you'll see Install. Go ahead and click on Install. And then we'll click on Activate. All right, now once you install the WordPress theme, right here, there's a banner that'll say Install Blocksy Companion. Let's click on this button. Now, once you install the Blocksy Companion plugin, it'll then take you to the dashboard. And here they have some theme customization options you can check out. They also have extensions you can turn on like cookie consents, newsletter subscribe, and a few others. They also have plugins they recommend, and they have a change log. So every time they add a feature or they update the theme, it'll all be listed right here. So next, let's now import a starter template. Right here under starter sites, let's click on starter sites. And we're going to adjust the categories here. So for all categories, let's select e-commerce. And for plans, we're going to select free plan. And for the builder, we're going to select Elementor. Okay, so here is a list of available e-commerce templates that we can choose. Now, the one that we're going to use for this video is, are you ready? It is the Modern Shop. So this one right here is the one that we're going to use. It is called the Modern Shop. If you want to take a preview of this right here, I'll click on Preview. And here is the template that we're going to use for this video. Now, I bet you're wondering, how did you make this look like the other demo website that you showed us earlier? Well, it's actually quite funny. If you look at these websites, they're virtually the same thing. I just added a button, I changed the background image, and that's pretty much all I decided to do. So once you adjust the images here, you change the styles, you can convert this template into any type of e-commerce website you want for your websites. So let's go back to our website here, and now let's import the Modern Shop templates. To do that, here I'll click on Import. So next we have the option to install a child theme. Now a child theme more applies for developers, so if you're changing the line of code or you're adding in custom CSS, then it might be useful to install a child theme. But if you are not a developer, I don't really think you need to have one, especially for your first websites. So for now, let's go ahead and skip this and click on Next. Now we're going to choose the page builder. So we're going to select Elementor and click on Next. And then we're going to install and activate these plugins. Now Elementor is the page builder, WP Forms is the contact form, and WooCommerce is the plugin that we need in order to turn this into an e-commerce website. So make sure you have all these boxes checked and then click on Next. Now Blocksy is going to install the starter template onto your new domain. So just give this like 1 minute. All right, so the starter site imported successfully. Now you can view your websites. So to view the website, click on View Site. All right, and here's that beautiful starter template successfully imported on our websites. Now, all we're gonna do is we're just gonna rearrange the content, right? So we're gonna adjust the content, swap the images, and you can turn the starter template into virtually any type of e-commerce template you choose, right? Scrolling down here, we have some testimonials. We have some upsells for our products. Below that, we have a features section where you can talk about specific features for your store. Below that, we have some e-commerce products, and we can just swap your products with these products here. Below that, we have a deal of the day. We have some more products, and then we have our testimonials here at the bottom. And then we have a really nice footer here at the bottom of the websites. So after we make a few changes to this website, it'll look a lot different and more catered for your business. Now, before we begin, there is one option we need to check, and that is in the Elementor settings. So let's go back over here to dashboard, and we're going to go over here to the Elementor settings and click on tools. Now, this is a one-time thing. After you do this, you no longer need to do this ever again. And under recreate kits, you just want to click on recreate kits. Once we do that, we'll then click on Save Changes. Essentially, all this does is create a new kit for our website. So you only need to do that once, and then from there, we can turn on the page builder. So let's go back to Visit Sites. So now that we have our beautiful template on the website, now let's design and customize it with the page builder. So in this part of the video, I'm gonna walk you through how to use the Elementor page builder. So we'll first start with like the basics, right? I'll walk you through how to create columns and drag in elements, and then we'll talk more about the advanced features like the Flexbox and all the features that it offers. So in this part of the video, I'll walk you through how to use the free page builder called Elementor. Y'all ready? Let's go. So next, let me give you all a 20-minute crash course on how to use the page builder. Now, normally you would turn on the page builder up here, but what I want to do is start on a brand new page and start from scratch. So up here at the top under plus new, let's click on page, and we're going to create a practice page. So for the title, I'll just put practice, right? Practice. And on the top right, I'll click on publish and publish. Now, once the page is published, we can now turn on the page builder. Here at the top, let's click on Edit with Elementor, and this will turn on the page builder. Okay, so next, let me walk you through the page builder and also explain the Elementor UI. Now, really quick, I want to get rid of this title. So I only want the page builder to be designing the page and not the theme, right? So to get rid of this title, here, I'll click on the gear icon under page settings. And then at the bottom, I just want to make sure that under page layout, this is Elementor full width. This will make it so Elementor is in complete control of the websites and none of the theme options are being applied. Okay, so let's get started. Now on the left side, you'll see layouts. Now these are essentially rows, and the basic elements, these are elements you can drag and drop onto the page. Below that, we have pro elements, but we don't need these, so I'm gonna collapse that. And then we have more elements that we can drag and drop on the page, like counters, progress bars, testimonials, social icons, and a few others. Now let's go ahead and create a 2-column row. So right here, we have this plus icon. I'll click on the plus, and then we have Flexbox, and we also have grid. For now, let's just click on the Flexbox, and then here we can select the structure. I'll talk more about what these arrows mean in just a little bit, but let's just keep this basic. For now, I'll select a 2-column row, and here at the top, I'll click on add elements, and now we can just drag and drop elements. So for example, I'll take this heading text, drop it here, right? Now for every element that you add, there's 3 different tabs, right? We have the content tab. This controls things like the content of the actual elements. And then we have the style tab. The style tab controls things like the typography, the color, and also the size of the elements. So for example, I can change this to, let me close this pop-up. We can change this to a different font here. And then also we can adjust the size of the text, right? And then also we can do things like make it thin, and we can make it italicized, and there's a bunch of styling options here. And then we also have the advanced tab. The advanced tab controls things like the position, and you can add in cool things like motion effects. So right here, you'll see I'm adding in space around the elements. And if we scroll down, you'll also see this tab called motion effects. And let's say, for instance, you want to add a cool animation or something. Under the entrance animation, I'll select something like slide in left. Yeah, there it goes. And then you'll see the elements sort of slides in. I mean, that is really ugly. So don't get too crazy with the animations. It's a really quick way on how to make your website look really ugly. We'll talk more about these other options a little bit later. So up here, I'll click on add elements. Now, let's say you want to delete this element. I'll go ahead and right click on an elements. And then at the bottom, I'll just click on deletes. So now we deleted that element. All right, so let's get started. Here, I'll take a heading text, drop it in this box, and then we'll change this to like, my new website. Okay, here I'll click on add elements. And now we can drag an image, right? So here I'll take the image module and I'll just drag it right here. And then we can now upload an image. So on the left side, I'll click on choose image. Now I have demo images for all of you in the video description. If you do want to use those, you can practice with these images, but I do have images that you can download for free. So here under upload files, I'll click on select files. Now the folder in the video description is called eCommerce images. So here is a list of images you can use. At the bottom right here, I'll just select the young man to get started with and then click on open. Okay, so I uploaded that image, and then here at the bottom, I'll click on select. All right, and now we got that image, right? Now let's add in some more elements. So I'll click on add elements, and then I'll throw in maybe a text editor, right? And then we can change this to something else, right? And then I'll click on add element again, and then just throw in a button here below that. And I can go ahead and style this button. So the first thing I'll do is under link, I'll actually type the name of the page, and then Elementor will prompt us with pages. So now I'm linking this button to the contact us page. And then for style, here under the color, I'll change this color to something like black, right? And then for the typography, we can change this to maybe like Poppins Bold, which is my, my go-to fonts. So Poppins, and then here we have bold, right? So I think that looks a lot nicer. And then maybe this can be like Daryl Wilson or something. You can introduce like, a staff member or something, and maybe throw in social icons. So for example, I'll type in social icons and just drag that in here, right? And then I can change the alignment here and stuff like that. So I think at this point you get the hang of it, right? Now, again, for every element, there are options. Like for the content here, you can adjust the links for the URLs. And then for the style, you can change the color, the size, and also the icon hover. Now, you can also go ahead and duplicate these and drag them onto the right side. So on this element here, I'll right click and click on duplicate. And then here you see that pencil icon. I'll just take this and drag it onto the next column, right? And I can do this with all the elements, right? So I can duplicate this image, then I'll take this image and I'll drag it right here. And when we see that pink line, I'll just drop it, right? And we can do this for all the elements, right? So I'll duplicate this, drag it over here, and so on and so forth, right? There we go. And here's a cool trick. Here I'll click on add elements and I'll just throw in a button, right? Now I don't want to style this all over again. So under this button, I'll right click, I'll click on copy, and for this button, I'll right click and click on paste style. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm just pasting the styling from one element to another. And then all the styling options will be made from this element to this element. Pretty cool, right? So now that I showed you a little bit about, dragging and dropping elements, we can actually do the same thing for columns and also full-on sections. So for example, here we have this container. I'll right click on the container and click on duplicate. So now we have these three sections right here. Now let's say, for example, you want to add in a background color or maybe even some space, right? So for example, here I'll right click on this background and click on edit container. Okay, so now I'm controlling this background. So here you see this pink line, we're controlling the background. And for the style, here we can change the background type. So under classic, we can throw in a cool color, right? Like that. Now you can also assign a specific background color for each container as well. For example, let's say you want to add a color background to only this column. I'll click on the column here, go to style, background type, and then change the color. And now you'll see that it only changes for this specific column. Pretty cool, right? Now notice here at the top how this is way too close to the top, right? There's just not enough space. This is where padding comes into play. So I'm gonna right click on edit container, and then go to the advanced options. Now under the padding, here I'll click on link values together, and now I wanna add padding to the top. So here, I'll add some space to the top, right? And then we'll add some space to the bottom. Okay, so now you'll see that we're adding in space to the bottom. Pretty cool, right? You can also do this for, for columns as well. So for example, if you don't want these columns too close to one another, you can go ahead and add padding, and then you can sort of distance each one away from each other so they're not so tight, right? That's just an example, of how you can use padding. Also, you can take these columns and you can actually make them bigger or smaller. So if you want this one bigger or that one bigger, you can completely rearrange the size of the columns as well. Now we can also do this manually. So I'll click on the container and then go to layouts. And then for the width, I'll just change this to like 33, right? There we go. That looks much better. Now, if you want to see the changes you've made, here I'll click on this arrow, and this shows you exactly what this looks like now. Pretty cool, right? Now, just like we duplicated elements and columns, we can also duplicate full-on sections. So I'm going to right click on this section and click on duplicates. And if we scroll down, you'll now see that we have this entire section that we duplicated. So as you can tell, using this page builder is not too difficult, right? Now let me introduce you all to one more feature before we jump into the Flexbox, and that is the shape dividers. And beginners love the shape dividers. Under these 6 dots, what we can do is go to Style, and here we have Shape Divider. Now a shape divider basically adds shapes to the top and the bottom of each section. So for example, here at the top, we can add in like drops, right? Or maybe clouds, right? And then we can control the height of the clouds, right? So we can flip it, we can invert it, and there is a bunch of styling options for each shape divider. We can also do the same thing to the bottom. So for example, if you want maybe waves or something, I think waves is a popular one. Yeah, that's a popular one. You can also add that to the bottom, or we can just add the same one like clouds to keep it more consistent. So shape dividers beginners love, but just be careful because it can be hard to keep designing the website around the shape dividers. But I find that beginners love shape dividers, right? So this is a general overview about Elementor and basically how you can make sections and everything. Now, let's say, for example, you made a mistake, right? Let's say you took this image and you dragged it up here and you're like, oh my God, Daryl, I really messed up my website. What just happened? You can always go back into the history of when you're building your websites. Here at the top, I'll click on the Elementor logo and click on history. And here you can actually go back to each part of when you're building your websites. So if you made mistakes, you can just go back into the history and revert to any part of when you're building your websites. Okay, so now that we've actually learned a little bit about Elementor, I'm going to delete this entire section. And now let's create a traditional landing page and also use the Flexbox. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to mimic a landing page very similar to this. Now we're not going to make the full landing page, but I'll introduce you all to the Flexbox so you have a better understanding of the page builder. So let's make a 2-column row under Flexbox. We'll select a 2-column row, and we're just going to throw in some text editor here, right? And we're going to reduce this a little bit, right? And then also we have the heading text, right? And this is like the primary text, as you can tell, like it's the primary text here. So what we're going to do here is just put something like, okay, so I just threw in some text, and below that, we will throw in another text editor, right? But now we have this section where we have 2 buttons, and this is where the Flexbox come into play, right? So if we take a button here and just throw it in, and we take another button and we throw it in, you're going to see a problem. You're going to notice that these are on top of each other and there's no way I can rearrange it. See that? I can't put it next to it. So we're kind of stuck like this. This is where the Flexbox comes in handy. So under the add element, we're going to add a container inside of this section. So for example, container, I'll drop it in here. And now we're going to drop these elements inside of the Flexbox. Okay. So now they're both inside the Flexbox. You see that? Now really quick, I'm just going to style these buttons really quick. Okay, so now I styled these 2 buttons. I basically did the same thing for both of them, but for this one, I just added in a border. So for the style section here under the solid type, I just put solid, and then I just put a border of like 2 pixels, and that created the border. So that's how I achieved that look. Next, I'm gonna click on edit container, and now we're gonna use the Flexbox. Now notice here how we have these arrows, right? So here, for example, these are vertical, right? So now they're stacked on top of each other. However, if I select horizontal, now you'll see these elements are horizontal from one another, right? We can also justify the content. So I can put this in the center, space between, space evenly, space around, or start. Now you can also decide to add in manual gaps. So if you wanna, add in manually, you can just go that route if you wanna go that route, right? But I'm not going to, so I'll just go ahead and leave it like that. And I think right now it looks pretty good so far, right? The next thing we'll do is we'll change the size of this section. So I'm gonna right click right here, click on edit container. Now for the minimum height, this is where you can control the height of the actual page. You see that? Now for a full height container, it says select 100 VH. Essentially VH is just a measurement for the page. You can go like 80 or 90, and as you'll see, it's the same result, right? So I'll just select something like, maybe 90, right? Now the next issue we have is notice how these elements are way too high up here, right? They're way too close to the top and we have a lot of empty space right here. Now, just like we use the Flexbox for these two buttons, we can also use the Flexbox for this entire section. So here, I'll click on Edit Container, and then here we have Justify Content. So we can put this in the center, and we can't really align these elements. You know, we can a little bit, but there's no real space for them to go. But we can also use the Flexbox here to manipulate these elements inside of this entire container, right? So I do like the center look. I like something like that. I think that looks much nicer. And the last thing we should do is just add in a background image. So I'll right click on the back here, click on Edit Container, go to Style, and then here for background type, under Classic, I'll select an image. So I'll click on Choose Image, and then I'll also upload the background here. Then I'll select this minimal background image, click on Open. Next, I'll click on Select. And after we added that image, you'll now see that the landing page is sort of coming together now, right? Now on the left side, here we can control the image position. So for the display size, I want to put cover. Essentially what I'm doing here is I'm forcing the image to cover the entire background. And then for the position, we can actually change the position to center, let's see, bottom center, right? But I'll just select center. And as you can tell, this looks a lot similar to our landing page. All we got to do is just change the size of the text. But overall, we basically duplicated the actual landing page on our demo websites. And then let's say you want to get creative. You know, you don't have to follow exactly what I'm doing in the demo. You can take this image here and maybe like throw in like a, I don't know, a signature, right? And then we have that signature. And just remember, the Flexbox right here will control where those elements are inside of the box. Got that? Okay. So yeah, be as creative as you want, but I'm just giving you all ideas in order to inspire you. Now, if you ever want to make a new section, below that, here we have the plus section. And this is also where we can add in like, you know, a whole new section, right? So let's go ahead and add in the direct column, right? And really quick, I just want to teach you a little bit more about the Flexbox. So I'm going to add an image here, choose an image. Next, I'm going to upload all of these, all these partner icons and click on Open. And then I'll just select one of these logos. Right? Now, you don't have to follow me here, but I just want to explain how the Flexbox can really improve your websites. Now, I'm going to add 4 more. Okay, so now I basically duplicated those. I replaced the images, and now we have these images stacked on top of each other. Now, we can use the Flexbox here to control these images inside of this section. So, for example, here I'll click on the 6 dots, and notice here how these are vertical. I'm going to change this to horizontal, and now you're going to notice that these are a little bit too tight, right? So what we can do here is we can add in gaps. So for example, we're going to add in some gaps here, right? I'll put in something like maybe, I don't know, 70, right? And then we need to add in some padding to the top and to the bottom. So for the advanced section, we're also going to add in some padding to the top, right? And then also add in some padding to the bottom. Now, this is a more advanced method, but I think this is probably the most difficult thing you're going to learn, right? So once you learn how to use the Flexbox and padding, you can pretty much use Elementor for any parts of your websites. Now, really quick, let's say, for example, you want to save a specific section, right? Let's say you want to save this and use this later on throughout your websites. I'm going to right click on this and click on Save as Templates. And this is going to be Daryl's landing page. Here, I'll click on Save. Okay. Next, I'll click on Close. Now, if we scroll down, you're going to see that there's this folder right here. So next, you're going to see this Add Template right here. Now, this section right here allows you to reinsert templates that you created throughout your websites. So here we have Daryl's landing page. I'll click on Insert. And then voila, we now have this section inserted below the logos. And by doing this, you can actually take sections and carry them throughout the website so you don't have to keep remaking sections all over again. All right, now I'm going to close this. Now let's talk about one last thing, and that is the Elementor AI. Now you don't have to buy the AI, but I'll just give you an example of what it does. I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest, but I'll just show you what it does. So once you activate the AI, you'll just give it some prompts, right? So for example, create me a 3-column my team section. Here I'll click on generate. Now, in my personal opinion, it's not as accurate as I would like it to be. It can be useful to get some inspiration, but I don't recommend it to build your entire website. And then you'll see the AI created these 3 sections. Now this is using Pro Elements. This is a 4-column row and this is a 3-column row. So I'll select the 3-column row and then click on Use Layout. And then you'll see we have a meet the team section where all you gotta do is just swap these images with maybe your staff. And the AI can be useful to create sections really quick, but I wouldn't recommend it to create the entire websites. Now, once you actually want to save all the changes you made on your website, all you'll do at the top right, you'll click on Publish. And this will now save all of the progress you made on this page for your websites. So that is a general overview about Elementor. As you can tell, it's not too difficult to learn, but it does have a slight learning curve, but I think by now you get the hang of it, right? Now let's talk about how to create pages and also how to add them to the menu before we talk about the home page. So to exit out of this, here I'll click on Elementor and click on Exit to WordPress. Next, I'll click on the WordPress logo. And here under Pages, when I click on All Pages, you're gonna see a list of all the pages on your website. So at any time, if you wanna view a page, all you gotta do is just click on like View, and then this will open up the home page, right? Now, if you wanna go back, just click on the back arrow, and this will take you right back to the WordPress dashboard. So earlier we created a page, and if you ever wanna create a page, you'll just click on, Add New Page. And this could be like anything, right? Testimonial. And then you'll click on Publish and Publish. And then you'll go to the process here, click on Edit with Elementor, and then just remake the page again however you want. Now we've already showed you how to do that, right? So let's just add this to the menu. So to do that, let's click on the WordPress logo, go down to Appearance, and now let's click on Menus. Okay, now here we have the menus, right? Now I'm gonna click on these menus and then click on Main Menu, and then click on Select. Now, when you import a starter template, these themes already create a menu for you, and all you gotta do is just add the pages to the menu. So for the pages, I'll click on View All, and let's say, for example, you want to use the practice one that we created, right? And then here's also the testimonial page. Here, click on Add to Menu. Okay, so now we have the practice and the testimonial, and you can actually take these and then drag and drop them, right? So I'll put this here, right? I'll get rid of this page. These are all just like demo pages. So I'm gonna get rid of all these pages. And I'm also gonna get rid of these links right here. So I'm gonna get rid of all these pages because these are just for the demo. And then for the My Accounts, I'll put it right there, right? And then I'll also remove the products. Okay. So now we have the home, the shop, the practice, testimonials, and we can take this and create a drop-down menu by putting that underneath the page. And then once you're done adjusting the menu for your websites, you'll then just click on Save Menu. All right, and if you want to view your websites, here at the top, I'll click on Visit Sites. And then here you'll see a list of the pages where you can click on it and view those pages that we just created. So that's how you can create pages and also how to add them to the menu. Okay, so now let's talk about how to design the home page. Now we're gonna take the starter template from this and make it look a little bit more modern into something like this, where we rearranged some of the content, we added in some buttons, we adjusted some of the content on the website, and we rearranged some of the elements on this page. So we're going to design the home page and make it look a little bit more modern like the demo websites. So let's get started. The first thing that we'll do is here at the top, let's click on Edit with Elementor, and this will turn on the page builder. Okay, so let's get started. Now, unfortunately, Blocksy is actually using an outdated container called intersections, which is no longer available for Elementor, unfortunately. Lucky for us, we can quickly change this. I'm gonna right click on this, click on Edit Section, and now you'll see this convert to container. So notice here how there is no Flexbox options, and that's because they're using a depreciated container called intersections, which is no longer available for Elementor. They upgraded to Flexbox. So all you gotta do is click on Convert, and what that's gonna do is just gonna make a copy of this, and now this is actually using the Flexbox. So we can actually get rid of this old landing page. So I'm gonna right click on this landing page and click on Delete, and now we're using this with the Flexbox. So now you'll see that we have all those Flexbox options like we had on the previous page. Now you'll have to do that for every single section, unfortunately. So they are using the intersections, but let's just go ahead and work with what we got so far. Now, the very first thing I wanna do is I wanna change this background image. So I'm gonna right click on the background, click on Edit Container, go to Style. So next, let's change this background image. So right here, I'll click on Choose Image, Upload Files, Select Files. Now what I'll be doing here is I'm going to be uploading all the images inside of the folder that I gave you in the video description. This way, I don't have to keep uploading images. Now this might take some time, right? So I think we have up to, 81 images, but I'm going to upload all these images onto my WordPress websites. And this process might take you anywhere between, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. But I want to upload all of these just so I don't have to keep going back and uploading files individually. So go ahead and upload these files and just give this like 5 minutes. All right, so the images have finally uploaded, and the image that I want to select is called this one here, the minimalist interior of modern living room. I'll go ahead and click on select. And look at that. After we add that in, you can see it gives the website a lot more flavor. Now let's click on add element here at the top. And what I want to do is I want to just drag a text editor. And what we can do is just use this to sort of introduce the actual heading text, right? So the whole purpose of this is to, just add a little bit of structure to the website, right? And for the style, and then for the color, I'll just make this black, right? Now, obviously you can change this text to anything that you'd want, right? But in this case, I'll just, I'll just leave it as demo text for now, but I just want to give it some structure, right? Something like that. Now for this section here, we can actually leave it the same. I think this is actually good, right? But what I want to do is I want to add a period. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to start adding in periods to sort of add some design aspects to my websites. You'll see more as we go. Now, the last thing that we have to do is we now need to actually add in a container right here. Now, earlier I talked about the Flexbox, right? Well, this is where we're going to apply it. So I'm going to drag the button right in here, right click, duplicate. And now that we have some experience with the Flexbox, now we can actually, use it, right? So here, click on edit container. And then for the direction, I'll make this horizontal. And for this right here, I'm going to click on the button. Now notice here how when I hover over it like that, it changes the color. If you want to adjust that, here under style, we have normal and then we have hover. So these are the control options when you hover over the actual icon. Like for example, I can change this to like a blue, right? And these are the normal, right? So this is just normal at its current states. So I'm not really gonna go ahead and design each one, but what I'm gonna do here is just change this second button color, right? So I'm gonna change this to something like a white color, okay? And then for the text, I'll make it black. And I just wanna give it a border now. So now that we have this white and black scheme going on, I just wanna add a border. So for border type, I'm gonna put solid, and then just add in maybe 3 pixels of border. So now we have this sort of format, which looks a lot nicer, okay? So that is pretty much it for the landing page. And if we take a look, you'll see it looks really nice. The only difference is we need to adjust the header, but we'll do that when we talk about the theme customizer. But overall, we have a really nice looking landing page, as you can tell. So let's go ahead and scroll down. And now we have this next section. Now this is just gonna be like a basic testimonial, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and click on this text, and then we'll just change this title to something else. And then finish it off with a little period there at the end. On the right side, we have hot discount, 70% off. All I want to do here is I just want to change the background. So I'm going to right click on edit column, go to style, and then I want to just change this background. So I'm going to delete this, choose the image, and then we're going to select another image. So here's the image I want to use. It is called Minimalist Living Room, right? I'll go ahead and click on select. And then you'll see that looks a lot nicer. Now, just in case you can't really see the white text, you can always darken the background. So to do that, right here, I'll click on background overlay. And here I'll click on classic. And we can add a very brief overlay color, right? So for example, here you can see you can add in a variety of different overlay colors. We can make it just a little bit more darker, just so that the text is easier to read, right? So now that we made this section, let's keep going down. Let's go ahead and scroll down here. Okay. So here we have backpack types. Now what I want to do is I want to turn this into something where we can introduce our products or maybe our services, right? So under backpack types, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and change this to our product categories. Okay. And then we have these sections here. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to convert this into the container, right? That's kind of annoying that we have to do this for every section, but once you do it once, you never have to do it again. So now that I converted it, I'll close this. And now we have this right here, except we're now using the Flexbox. Now, how I designed this on the demo website was I actually just deleted the bottom text. I actually added an image of our products, and then I added a frame around each section just to give it a little bit more emphasis and design, right? So let's walk you through on how to do that. The first thing I want to do is I want to delete this text, right? There's no reason to have this text here. It's way too much text. Okay. And then I want to go ahead and replace these images with our images. Now they did this in a very distinct way. So instead of actually using an image element, they actually applied this as a background. So here, click on Edit Container, click on Style, and here I'll click on Choose Image. And then I'll just select one of our product images. So here I'll select our vase. Okay. So I went ahead and I uploaded my images. Now, before we talk about the frame, I just want to show you how they made the bottom here gradients. So notice here how it's black, but then up here it's light. They did that by adding in a gradient overlay for the background. So here, click on Edit Container, go to Style. And if we scroll down, you're going to see background overlay, right? Now, what they did here was they just added a background color here to the bottom, right? And they can change the direction, right? So you can, like, you know, change the direction a little bit. You can move the location, but this is essentially a gradient, right? So they're using two different colors. They're using a clear color and a black color. So you can change this color to pretty much any color that you want in order to achieve this sort of style. So I just wanted to show you all how they did that, right? Because you might have been confused. It's a little bit more advanced. Now let's add a border to this image right here. So to do that, under the Style tab, I'll click on Border. And then for border type, I'll click on Solid. And then for border width, I'll change this to like maybe 3 pixels, right? And for border color, I just want to make sure it's black, right? So that's basically how we achieve that sort of style where we have this black border. Just want to make sure that it's double, right? Is that double? So border, oh yeah, double, sorry. And that basically achieves this sort of look right here, where it has that double like border in a really nice format. So now that we know how to do it for one, let's go ahead now and do it to the second and the third one and the fourth one, right? Okay, so we added in those products, right? And then all you gotta do is just change the title to something that relates to the product category. So this will be like vases. So then I added the clocks and the chairs category. Let's go ahead and scroll down here. These are featured products. Now we don't have products just yet, so we're gonna skip this and then we're gonna start from scratch in the next section. Now we have this banner, but really quick, I'll click on these 6 dots, convert, okay? Close this, right? And now we have this section. Now the only thing that we need to do here is we just need to change the background. So click on these 6 dots, style, change this image, and we're gonna select this image here. It is the modern living room. I'll click on select. And voila, how beautiful is that section? Now, of course, if you want to add more to it, feel free to, you know, add any elements you want. So you can drop in text, you can add in buttons, and you can rearrange these elements however you would like. Let's go ahead and keep scrolling down here. We're going to change this to products, okay? And we'll come back to this once we create more products. So don't worry about the products. We'll create that in the very next section. Let's go ahead and keep scrolling down. Here we have our happy clients, which I basically left the same. You don't really need to do much here. You can obviously just change this to, you know, your partner, and then you can create your own testimonial. And then you'll click on the element here, and then you can change the image, and you can change the title and also the description. And if you want, you can go to the style and then adjust all the styling options for this specific elements. But let's go ahead and keep scrolling down. And now we're at the bottom of the page. So basically, as of right now, we've fully designed and customized our homepage. So congratulations, pat yourself on the back. As you can tell, just by changing images and adjusting the content, you can make this website completely look like a whole nother website. Now here at the top right, we'll click on publish, and congratulations, we've successfully designed our homepage. And now here is the website live. So you'll see all the changes that we made to the website are live, and it looks great. You know, here's our product categories. We have our featured products. We have this really nice looking banner, our products, our clients, and then we have our footer here at the bottom of the website. Now, all you gotta do is you just have to compare this with our demo websites. Now, I will leave this demo website in the video description. Now, if you want to design the other pages, all you need to do is go to like maybe the About Us page. You'll click on the About Us page, and then you'll click on the Edit with Elementor, and this will allow you to customize each individual page. And let's say, for example, I'll just go over here to style, change the image, and then voila, we have it just like our demo. The only thing I want to do is add a period because I do want to carry that design scheme throughout the websites. And if we check out our demo websites, you'll see it looks identical. So feel free to go throughout the rest of the websites. I'm not going to go through every page and customize it because I think at this point you understand how to use the page builder. Now to exit out of the page builder here at the top, I'll click on View Page. And then you'll see the changes are now live on the About Us page. So congratulations, that is how you can use the Elementor Page Builder to fully design and customize your e-commerce website. Okay, I quickly want to touch base on the contact form on your websites. Now, if you click on Contact Us and you scroll down, you'll notice that you have a contact form on your websites. Now, this contact form was propagated by a plugin that we auto-installed when we imported the demo. The plugin itself is called WP Forms. So in the back end, you'll see WP Forms, and this is the plugin that actually propagates the contact form. And here is the contact form itself. Now, I'm not really going to go in detail with the contact form, but many of you using the contact form, your emails typically may not be delivered to your inbox, and many of them will go to spam. Now, to speed up this video, I've actually created an entire tutorial on WP Forms. It's about an hour long. You don't have to watch this. It's really simple to set up a contact form with this plugin. However, many of you watching this video, your first contact form typically won't send emails directly to your inbox. Now, here is a video you can watch. It's just about 8 minutes long. It's completely free. All you got to do is set up the SMTP and create a business email, and you can actually get free business emails with Hostinger. So in this video, I walk you through how to create a business email and then how to properly route the emails to your inbox so they don't end up in spam. So you'll always receive all of the emails from your e-commerce websites. Also, if you want to go a step further and link your business email to Gmail, I have a video right here. And this actually shows you exactly what to do. And again, it's completely free, doesn't cost you anything. It does take about maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You just have to insert some credentials from Hostinger, and all of the emails from your e-commerce website will be routed directly to your Gmail accounts. So I'll go ahead and leave these tutorials in the video description. I just wanted to touch base on this because I do realize that if you are using the contact form from the demo, usually they'll end up in spam for your very first time. So yeah, feel free to watch those videos, and I'll put those videos in the description so that all the emails from your e-commerce websites will be sent directly to your email inbox. With that said, let's go next to the products. So now that we have our website up and we know how to design it with the page builder, now let's add products. So in this section of the video, I'll walk you through how to create a simple product and also a variable product. Now, a simple product is a product with no variables, just the add to cart option only, right? A variable product is a product with multiple variables, such as size or color. So I'll walk you through how to create these two types of products in this section of the video. Y'all ready? Let's go. All right, so in this part of the video, we're now gonna make products for our e-commerce websites. So let's get started. Let's go back here to the dashboard. Now, really quick, the plugin that you're gonna need to install on your website is called WooCommerce. Now, this was already installed by default when we imported the starter templates. If for whatever reason you were, browsing around and you deleted it or deactivated it, under the plugin section, under Add New Plugin, if you go to search plugins and type in WooCommerce, the plugin is available for download for free, and you can install it directly onto your WordPress website. And here is the plugin. It is called WooCommerce. So you'll just want to make sure that you install this plugin and then activate it. Now, once you do that, you're going to see a tab over here with WooCommerce, Products, Analytics, and Marketing. Now, we'll talk more about the general settings a little bit later, but for now, let's go over here to Products and click on All Products. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of all this demo content, right? We have a lot of products in here that we're not going to use, so let's delete it. So delete products. Here, click on the checkbox, which selects all of the products. And then under the bulk actions, I'll click move to trash and click on apply. Okay, so now we're gonna make some products from scratch. So to do that, right here, I'll click on add new product. Now we're first gonna start with a simple product. A simple product has no variables, right? So it's just a basic product. So the first thing that you'll do is you'll give your product a name. So what is the name of the product? So for the product name, I'm gonna put black clock. Actually, we're gonna change this to designer clock, all right? Designer clock, there we go. And you can actually use the Hostinger AI to create product description for your product if you wanna go that route. You don't have to use it, but it might help you, right? So I'll just put in designer clock right here. And for the content length, I'll put short. And for tone of voice, I'll select friendly, and then click on create product with AI. Now, all it's doing here is just going to give you some description that you can work with. So it's not going to fill out all the information. It's just going to create some description to help you out. Okay, now here we have some product description. Now, really quick, this product description appears below your product. To give you an example, here we have this black vase, right? Now, if I scroll down, this right here is the long tail description. I'll show you in a bit how to put in the product short description, right? But let's go back to our products. Now we're going to scroll down. And now we're going to insert some information. Now, here we have the product data. So I'm going to select a simple product. There are other products you can make, like a group product, external product, variable product. You can also create a virtual product. This basically allows people to maybe book a service like a phone call or something. And then we have the downloadable product. And all you got to do is just upload the file right there. We're clicking on add file. And then you can upload a file where people can access it once they have purchased the product. But to get started with, I'm just going to uncheck these and let's just start with a simple product. So how much does this product cost? Well, $25. The next option is there a sale? Here you can schedule a sale, right? So I'll schedule a sale from the 27th to the 31st, and the sale price will be 20 bucks. Actually, I'll put today, just because I want to show you how it looks, right? The next tab is inventory. So if you have a SKU number, you can enter the SKU number here, or an ISBN, you can also enter it there. Now here you can enable stock management. What this does is this actually shows how many of these products you have in stock. Now customers will also see this. So for example, I'll put 10, allow back orders. If you run out of all the products, you can still allow back orders if you want to go that route. So here I'm just going to select allow, right? Now low stock threshold. So when do you want to be notified when you're running low on this specific product, right? I'll just select like 3, right? And the last option is sold individually. This really only applies to very rare products, but do not check this because if you check this, that means they can only select this product and no other products on your store. The next option is shipping. How much does this weigh, right? Well, I'm gonna put 4 pounds. And then here we can add in the dimensions. So 12, 6, and 12. This is called shipping classes. We'll talk more about shipping a little bit later, but for now we can skip that. Linked products. So next we have upsells and cross-sells. Now upsells is going to recommend other products when people are viewing this specific product. A cross-sell will recommend another product when people are checking out on your website. To give you an example, here's the black vase, and if I scroll down, you'll see these related products. So these right here are upsells. Now, if I actually go to like view the cart or something, and here's the black vase that I added to the cart. And if I scroll down, you'll see these 2 products right here. And these are considered cross-sells. So you may also be interested in, and then they recommend these products. So you might want to recommend products that maybe go hand in hand with the product that you're creating. Next, we have attributes. Now we can skip attributes because this is more for variable products. So we'll come back to this. Let's click on advanced. Now a purchase note. This will actually give the customer a note once they've purchased the product. So you can put something like, thank you for shopping. Menu order typically allows you to place this product in a specific order on your page, on your shop page. Here you can enable reviews on the product. And then there's also more options where they have like other plugins and extensions, but you don't really need it. So let's just go ahead and skip that. And the last section is the product short description. This is the description that appears on the side of your product. So here is the product short description. So this content right here next to the product is the product short description, which is basically the main content for the product. Now I do recommend to go to ChatGPT if you need help. For example, here I put create me product description for a black vase, and then it created this really nice description. So I'll go ahead and copy this, and then I'll paste it for my product short description. Okay, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and scroll up. The next thing we're gonna do is add a product image for this product. So right here, you'll see set product image. I'll go ahead and select the black clock or the designer clock. So next we have the product gallery. Now, if you have multiple images of this product, you can also add it here. So I don't really have any other images for this product. So I'm just gonna select these 2 right here just to give you an example. I'll click on add to gallery. And below that, we have product categories. Now we're gonna delete these a little bit later, but you always wanna make sure you add your own product categories. So right here, I'll click on add new category, and then I'll put designer clocks and click on add new category. Okay, so essentially right now I'm creating a category for all of the clocks on my websites. And below that we have product tags. So here I'll put black, designer, and clock. Essentially, people can click on these tags and be redirected to any product with these specific tags. So that's what tags are. It just basically helps the customers navigate your website a little bit easier. And below that, we have brands. Now, if this product has a specific brand, you can add it here. For the brand name, I'll just put Daryl's Clocks. Then I'll add new brand. Now, the last option you may or may not have, I'm not sure why, but I think WooCommerce is split testing this feature. Basically, if you don't want to upload an image and you want to add an external featured image, you can enter the URL right here. Again, I'm not sure about this option. It doesn't appear on my other websites, so it could be from a plugin or it just could be an experimental project by WooCommerce. But anyways, once we enter all this in right here, I think we're ready to rock and roll. We can now publish this product. So to publish a product right here, I'll click on publish. And now let's view the product. So up here, I'll click on view product. And here we go. So if we scroll down, you'll see the designer clock. We have the description, we have the features, and overall, it's a really nice looking product page. Users can actually hover over the product and get a zoomed in version. They can also click on this little checkbox and they can zoom in on the product just to make sure there's no discrepancies when they buy the product. If we scroll down, you'll see that there's 10 in stock because we actually selected 10. Here we have the other images, right? So if you have other images, they'll appear like that. Okay. And then we have the category. So we have designer clock. If I click on this category, it'll take them to all of the products within that category. We also have the tags for black, clock, and designer. All right. So if they were to select any one of these, it'll just take them to all of the products that have that specific tag. And the same thing for brand, right? So this will actually take them to all of the products within this specific brand as well. All right. So it's just a way on how to categorize your items, just so it's a little easier for your customers to navigate. And below that, we have the description about the actual products. Here we have additional information such as the weight and dimensions. And then right here, we have reviews where people can actually leave reviews for your products, like awesome. And they can actually click on submit and then submit a review for your products. Look at that, pretty cool. Just remember, you can always turn this on or off. There's also options in the WooCommerce settings to only allow people who have actually purchased the product to leave reviews. And we'll talk more about that when we talk about the WooCommerce general settings. But overall, this is how you can create products. Congratulations. As you can tell, the product looks great. Now let's go ahead and make another product. Let's create a variable product. So to do that, here at the top, I'll click on plus new and I'll click on product. You can do it that way, or you can just, go right here in the back end and just do add new product. Now, really quick, I want to get rid of this banner right here. This is being propagated by Hostinger. So over here under plugins, I'll click on installed plugins. Now I love Hostinger, but sometimes they just install unnecessary plugins on your website. So I think this plugin right here is creating that banner. I'll click on deactivate and that should deactivate the banner. All right, here, click on got it. Okay, now let's go over here to products. And first let's click on all products. Now really quick, if you want to actually hide all these categories and tags and brands, here under screen options, if you actually uncheck these, this will actually get rid of all that stuff because it does get a little annoying. I don't really want to see everything, right? So you can actually hide some of these or you can add them just depending on how you want to approach it, right? I'll go ahead and select dates and I think that's it. Here, click on apply. So now let's create a variable product. So we can do this two ways, by clicking on add products or plus new and product. It's the same thing. So I'll click on add new products and here we go. Now let's create a variable product. So here's my demo website and here we have a special vase. Now for this specific vase, I have different attributes such as color and also size. Now if we select a black vase and we have to select the size, so I'll select medium, you'll now see the image changes to a black vase. But if I change this to whites, you'll see it changes back to whites. So that's an example of what a variable product is. It just has different variables such as size or color. So let's go ahead now and create a variable product. Okay, so for the product name, I'm gonna put designer vase. All right, and then I'll throw in some quick product description. All right, so I threw in some product description. I'll scroll down and now here we have the product data. Now here I'll select the simple product tab and now I'm gonna select variable product. I guess they have these little pop-ups. We're just gonna close these because those get a little annoying. Now notice here how price has now disappeared, right? So the next thing we're gonna do is we're now gonna create attributes. So right here, I'll click on attributes. And now we're gonna create some attributes. So the first attribute I'm gonna create is gonna be size. So right here, I'll type in size. And then I'm gonna put small. Now there is a bracket symbol above the enter sign. You need to hold shift and press that symbol. I'll put this on the screen so you can see exactly what to press. I'm not sure why it's like that, but that's just what they choose to use, right? And for the other value, I'll put large. Okay, now I'll click on save. All right, now let's add another attribute. So I now want to add color. So right here, I'll click on add new. And then for the name, I'll put color, and then I'll put black, and then also white. And then I'll click on save attributes. So basically right now I have a vase with two attributes, size and color. Now let's click on variations, and now I want to generate the variations. So right here, I'll click on generate variations and then click on OK. Okay, so now we have 4 variations. We have small black, small whites, large black, and large whites. Now up here, our first option is what is the default form value? So what is the default option for customers who actually select the product? Well, I'll just put a small black, right? So basically when they click on the product, it'll automatically fill out small and black for them until they change it, obviously. Now right here next to the remove button under the small and black product, I'll click on edit, and now we can add all the information for the small black. The first thing I'll do is I'll upload an image here, and I'll select this vase, click on set variation, and then right here we can now adjust the price, we can put the stock status, the weight, basically everything that we did for the simple product, all the options are right here. I'm just gonna put $100, right? And I'm not really gonna enter anything else, but I'm just going to skip it just to speed this up. Now, once I put in the product and also the price, I'll go ahead and collapse this. So I'll click on edit. Now you must enter a price for the product. If you do not enter a price for any one of these products, the image will not be able to be added to the cart. So if there's an error where it says, oh, users can't add it, it's because you forgot the price. So next, let's do the small whites. So right here, upload image, put this white vase, and then I'll put $80. Okay. Click on edits, go to the next one, black white, black large, upload an image. Here we go. And I'll put a price of $100, right? Now notice here how you can charge more or less for different variations. So I do believe like larger vases would be more expensive, right? Because it's more material. So I'll select this one here, right? And then for this one, we'll put $120. Here I'll click on edit. And then I'll add in some product short description. And then we'll paste in that product short description. I'll scroll up, and now I'm gonna select a featured image for this product. So click on set product featured image. I'll select this one. Actually, you know what? We should select this one because remember earlier how I selected the black small by default? So I'll click on set product image. I'll scroll down. Now we don't really need to select product galleries because basically every single product has its own gallery, right? Now I'm gonna create a new product category. So right here, add new category, and I'm gonna put vases. Add new category, and I'll add in some tags, black, vase, okay. And for the brands, I'll also add it to the Daryl's clocks. Why not? I know it's a clock, but I'm just gonna add it here just to give you an example of what that does. After we've entered all that information in, now we can publish this variable product. Fingers crossed, let's hope it works. Here I'll click on publish. All right, now we can view the product. So right here, I'll click on view product. All right, so here is the designer vase. I'll scroll down and notice here how we have the price ranging from $80 to $120. That's because specific vases cost more than others, right? So here we have the size, right? We have small, changes to white, and then you'll see the price also changes. So we have large and then also black, and you'll see the price also jumps along with the image as well. Now, don't worry if this image is too large. I realize that it might be a little bit too big. Don't worry, we're gonna design the product page and the shop page in the next section. But this is how you would create a variable product. Here we have our categories, our tags, and then below that we have the description and also related products here at the bottom. So that is how you can create a variable product. I'll be honest, this is probably the most difficult thing you're gonna do in this entire tutorial. So if you managed to learn how to make this product, congratulations, pat yourself on the back. This was probably the hardest thing you'll do in this tutorial. So now that we've created these products, I quickly wanna talk about the product categories. So let's go back to our dashboard over here. And under the product section, you're gonna see categories. Here I'll click on categories. Now I wanna delete a lot of this demo content, right? So I wanna delete the casual and the travel, right? And I wanna delete those. Okay, so I'll click on delete and apply. So here we have designer clocks and we also have vases. Now, unfortunately, you have to use the original category WooCommerce gave you. You can always rename this though. So for example, I'll click on quick edits and you can change this to something like chairs or something, right? Chairs. But yeah, you have to have one. So it won't let you delete it. So you have to, you have to have it. And here you can see the count, right? So we have one product in the designer clocks and one in the vases. If you want to create another category from the backend, you can do it right here by putting a name. So this will be like luxury products, right? And then if I scroll down, you can always add a thumbnail if you want. But here, I'll click on add new category. And then voila, now we have another category. So that's how you can create categories from the backend. But I'm just gonna delete this just because I don't want it. And voila, we're back to square one. Okay, so now that we have our products, let's go ahead and scroll down. Just keep scrolling, just keep scrolling. And here we go. We have our featured products. And if we keep scrolling, we have popular products. Now, we can control which products are shown on the homepage. Now to do this, we need to use the WooCommerce shortcodes. The first thing we'll do is click on Edit with Elementor and activate the page builder. All right, so I turn on the page builder and here we'll click on this pencil. And this is actually a shortcode widget from Elementor. Now here we have the shortcode, I guess you want to say description. Now WooCommerce has their own shortcode description. So for example, if you want to show product categories or just one category or two categories, you can do that. You can limit the amount of products, you can add columns and a lot more. So just to give you an example, we have a limit of 4 products and we have 4 columns, right? Now here this says on sale true. Now this is only for on sale products. So I want to delete this. I don't want to really showcase on sale products. And now it's going to show all the products on my store right here as a limit of 4 products, right? Now, let's say for example, you want to just have one product, right? Here I'll put 1, and then you'll see only 1 product shows. So this actually controls how many products you'll display on your actual landing page, right? And then also you can adjust the columns, right? So if we select 3 columns, you'll see now it's 3 columns. If we have 2 columns, then it'll only showcase 2 columns, right? So you can go through here and customize this using shortcodes. It's much better than using a plugin, to be honest. The plugins make things a little complicated. Now, let's say, for example, you want to just only showcase a product category. Now, in order to do that, we first need to get the ID for the category. So let's go over here to our dashboard. I'm not going to close this. I'll leave it open. I'll just open up my website in a new tab. Then I'll go over here to the products and click on categories. Next, I'll click on the designer clocks. And right here at the top, you're going to see ID equals 24. So the designer clocks is the 24 category ID, right? So we're going to take that number and we're going to insert it onto the home page. So let's go back here. And now I'm going to replace this shortcode with something else. So here I typed in product category, right? And then I typed in category equals 24. So essentially what I'm saying here is I only want to showcase the products within this specific category. Now, if I were to change this to another category, for example, the other category, which was vases, vases is 29, right? So if I replace this with 29, it's going to showcase those other products within that specific category. And voila. So that's a quick way on how you can showcase specific products on your landing page without having to install a plugin. I know it seems a little weird, guys, to be honest. It's a little outdated, but it's a quick way on how to do it. It takes like a few minutes to learn, and you don't have to install a plugin to showcase your products. And the very last thing I want to show you all is how to link specific product categories. So for example, here we have these categories, right? Now there's a few ways on how we can do this, right? So over here, we have our designer clock category. You can access the categories of your products by going to your shop page and just simply by clicking on the actual category, right? So for example, I'll click on vases, and here is the product category page for all the vases. So all I got to do here is copy this, go to our home page. So here we have our product categories. Now what I'll do here is I'll click on the colored vases and I'll just make this a link. So for the link, I'll just paste in that link and then click on publish. Next, I'll view the page. Then we'll scroll down, and if a user clicked on colored vases right here, it'll take them directly to that product category page. So that's a way on how you can link the actual products to your product category pages. So now that we have our website set up and our products are ready to go, now let's talk about the theme customizer. Now the theme customizer allows you to control various parts of the website like the header, the footer, the shop page, and also the product pages on your store. So in this part of the video, I'll walk you through the options with the Blocksy theme customizer. Y'all ready? Let's go. Okay, so now let's talk about the theme customizer. Now the theme customizer controls things like the header, the footer, and also the shop and the product page. Now before we turn on the theme customizer, we need to make our store live or else the changes we made won't display. So to make your store live, right here under store coming soon, I'll click on this option. And then right here, I'll click on live and click on save changes. Once we do that, I'll go back to visit sites. And now our website's live. So to access your theme customizer, here at the top, let's click on customize, and this will turn on the Blocksy theme customizer. Okay, so this is the Blocksy theme customizer, and this controls various things like the header, the footer, the shop page, and also the product page of your websites. Now, I'm not gonna go through all the general options with this theme because it can take quite a bit of time, right? So we're just gonna give you like the meat, right? Like the best stuff, right? So the first thing that you might wanna adjust is the header of your websites. So here, click on header, and here is the Blocksy header builder. And this is very simple. It's 100% drag and drop. If you wanna take a button, you'll just take the button, drag it here, and then you'll see the button displays right there, right? So you can drag and drop these elements onto the actual header. Now, the Blocksy theme customizer gives you 3 separate rows. You have the top row, the main row, and the bottom row. For my specific demo over here, you'll see that this is only a 1 row. So we have a logo, the menu, and then we have a search, and then we have the dashboard, and then we have social icons. I think this is very standard, but if you do want a very large menu, you can always create multiple rows. So the first thing I wanna do is I wanna adjust the logo. So I'm gonna delete that and take the logo and put it way over here to the left side. Now for every element, if you click on it, this will give you options where you can style it and customize it. The first thing I wanna do is take out this default logo and add in my logo. So I'll scroll down, put in Porta, insert this, and then also we can change the height of the logo as well, right? So I think something like 42 is good, right? 40, here, hold on, I'm typing in 42, all right? There's other styling options where you can change the alignments and you can add in a title and also a tagline. These options are found in the general settings of WordPress, but I don't want that. But I think on your own free time, you guys can go through here and mess around with stuff and, tinker around with your website, right? The next thing I want to do is I want to take this menu and put it right in the middle, right? So now our menu is right here in the middle. I'll go ahead and click on menu. And then for the select menu, I just want to make sure this is the main menu. The next is the styling options. So here we have different styling options. So notice here how there's that black bar and it's very faint, right? But I selected type 3. All right, and then we have that type 3 right there. Also, we can adjust the item spacing right here. So for example, I'll put 15. Sometimes if it doesn't respond, that does happen sometimes. I found if you switch the elements, it actually showcases what it looks like. So you see now it's spaced out. If that ever happens, you can just close the theme customizer and reopen it. Sometimes the theme customizer might get a little glitchy and weird, but this theme is actually quite good though. So that is basically how I made that specific menu. And again, if I go over here to design, we can change the background color to something else. So if I want like a red background right here, I'll go ahead and change this to red. Click on publish. And now we have this red color like that, right? So that's exactly how I made this specific menu. On your own free time, feel free to go ahead and check it out, right? Here, I'll change this to black, right? Click on publish, and now it's black. Now there's a lot more you can do with this, header builder. One last thing I want to show you all is if you want to change the background color, which some of you might, here click on main row, and I can always change this to boxed, full width, right? Here, click on design. You can actually change the background color, right? So that's just another way on how you can change the color and then also change the size of it, right? So feel free to explore the header builder. It has a lot of options. It might take you 10 minutes to get the hang of it, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so now let's go ahead and turn on the footer builder. So I'll click on footer, and then we'll scroll down to the bottom of the page. Now, the first thing we have to do is we need to disable this effect right here where it's blocking the footer. We can always turn this on later, but to disable this, under footers, I'll click on global footer, And for the enable reveal effect, I want to turn this off for now, just so I can see the menu that I'm working with, right? We can always turn it on a little bit later, but once you're done, you can always turn it on or off, right? So this works the same way as the actual header, right? So for example, I'll go ahead and click on back and go to elements, and you can actually take elements and drag them onto the page. So here we have socials, right? And then for these socials, there's options in the general settings and also the design. Now the footer works a little differently because they're actually based on the Gutenberg blocks for WordPress. So for example, I'll click on widget area 1, and here we have widgets, right? So essentially they inserted text right here, like a text block, right? But let's just start from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and click on these 3 dots, delete this. I'll click on this and also delete this as well. So now we have this blank box. So now we can add in Gutenberg blocks. So right here, click on plus, and here is some blocks, right? But if I click on browse all, here is a list of all the available blocks that we can add to our footer. There is a lot, as you can tell, right? Now let's just get to the basics here. I'll click on paragraph here, and then I'll type something in. I'll put about us. All right. And then for the design, I can obviously change the font color. And yeah, so that's how I can basically add in the about us section, right? And then I'll click on plus again, and I'll add another block. So this time I'll put in paragraph, and then I'll just throw in some demo contents. So then I put in some more description about our company, right? And we can always change the size of this right here by clicking on paragraph, and we can, make the size a little bit bigger, to an H2 tag or H3 or something like that. We can also make this bold, and you can fully design and customize this, right? But I want to keep it back to the paragraph. So I think to do that, we have to actually, I think we have to change that back to paragraph. There we go. And then below that, I'll add a logo. So right here, add block, and I'll click on image, and then I'll upload the image. Okay, now I don't really have any white logos. I put a black one. It's going to be black on black. It's going to look a little weird, right? So you might want to change the background color, but I'll just select this icon here, right? And then click on select. And then we have our white logo right there, right? So the next thing we can do is go to widget area 2, click on this, and do the same thing. Now, if you click on the actual elements, it'll tell you what they did right here. So they added a text widgets, they put a title, and they just put links to just random pages. So you might want to change this to something like the home page, right? And then I'll go ahead and double click, and then I'll just add in a link to the home page, right? I don't know if it's like Elementor, where you type in home. Yeah, there it goes. So home, right? And then you'll see the home page right there. And if they click on that, it'll take them directly to the home page. Now there's a few widgets that you can add for your store that might actually help you convert. So I'll go to widget area 3, and I'll just go ahead and delete all these blocks. So right here, I'll click on add block. I'll type in products, and I'll just do like a product list. So now you're gonna see a list of all the products on your store. And here you can limit how many products. So we only have 2, right? But you can put up to 5, right? And there's other various WooCommerce widgets you can add as well. So if I click on plus, and I think here I'll click on browse all. I think WooCommerce actually has their own section. Yeah, so here is a list of all the WooCommerce you can add. You can add a cart, like for example, what's in their cart. You can add in a mini cart and all these other options for your footer. Okay, so that is a general rundown of how you can use the Blocksy Footer Builder in order to create a footer for your websites. Now, once you've applied all the changes, here at the top, you'll click on Publish. So next, let's talk about the shop page. Let's go ahead and scroll up here, and I'll click on Shop. Now, the first thing I want to do is exit out of this Footer Builder, right? Okay, now on the shop page right here, if we scroll down, the first thing you can do is just click on edit, and this will actually bring you to exactly where you can edit the actual part of your shop page. Additionally, if I go back here and go to WooCommerce, this is the product archive, and this is controlling the actual shop page. Now, the first thing that you'll notice is that we have this banner right here. So if you want to get rid of this, I can actually turn this off, and this will actually hide the page title along with the image in the background. You can also change to type 2 right here, where it's more of like a different style for your products, right? You can control the number of rows and columns. Now, really quick, I want to turn this on right here, and I want to show you how to edit this. Now, many users are confused about the page title. This is actually the title of the page. So there is no description, there's no drag and drop editor. So if you want to change the background, the first thing I'll do is click on this section here. And here we have a design, right? We have type 1. And then also we have type 2. If you want to hide specific elements, for example, I can hide the title and the description. And then the title and the description is gone, right? If you want to add all the elements, I'll turn those on. And then the elements will be displayed again. Now you can also go to design right here, and then you can change the fonts, the color, and all these other various options. But let's talk about now how to actually change the actual background. So here under general, I'll scroll down, and here we have custom image. Here I'll click on the image, and I'll throw in an image of my modern living room. All right, how about that? Looking good. Now, these elements right here showed because I think we turned on the breadcrumbs. Yeah, so we turned on the breadcrumbs, and under the design tab, you can always change like the breadcrumb colors, right? So I can make these all black or something, right? I think it looks a little bit sharper, but you know, I don't like the breadcrumbs. I'm gonna take those off, okay? But that is how you can add this really nice looking, you know, image to your backgrounds. And here is a list of all of your products. So here under the card options, here you can actually hide or drag and drop elements, right? But I think we need to change this to type 1 really quick. Yeah, type 1, card options. And let's say you want to take the product image and drag it below the title. You'll now see that the image is below the title. And for every element, there's styling options. So for the title, there's styling options. For the price, the star rating, you can turn on or off, right? And then the rating is gone, right? So you can fully customize all of the actual products on your product page, and then voila. So yeah, sometimes it gets stuck, but if that ever happens, you can just go ahead and just close the theme customizer and it'll work just fine. So that is an example of how you can fully design the actual shop page of your websites. Feel free to go through all the design options and decorate this however you would like. Now let's talk about the actual product page. So I'll go ahead and go back, and here I'll click on, I'll just go to click on single products. And then I'll click on one of these products. And here I'll click on edit for the image. And here we can actually change the actual size of the image. So for example, I change this to like original, or you can make it like a different size or something, right? Or make it custom. You can also change the width of this, right? So if you don't want it too big, you can make it a little bit smaller, right? You can also make a sticky gallery where you'll see how the image sticks like that, which is really, really cool, right? I do like that. It's pretty sharp. And then here we have all of the design options where you can change the color of the arrows, the light box. You can make the image size larger. You can adjust the spacing. And then there's more design options here in the design section. So as you can tell, you know, you can get really customizable and you can decorate this page however you would like using the theme customizer. But I'll leave it up to you to actually go ahead and navigate this and check it out. But going back here, we can actually add a product title here. So if I click on the arrow, you can also adjust the alignment of these items right here, right? And there's a lot more styling options in the design tab, okay? So feel free to go through the product page and design it to fit your liking. It might take a little bit of time, but feel free to just go here, disable whatever elements you don't want, but overall, you can have full control over your product page. Now, the very last option that I want to talk about is a sidebar. So let's go over here to the shop page, go to product archives. And you can add a sidebar on your shop page. You can also add a sidebar on your product page as well. But if you want to turn on the sidebar on your websites, here under the product archives, I'll scroll down here and click on sidebar. And if I click on this arrow, you'll see we can position the sidebar on the left side or on the right side. Now that we've turned that on, now let's go ahead and save this really quick, and then we'll add elements for the sidebar. So at the top, I'll click on publish. And I want to open up a new tab this time. So let's go over here to our dashboard, and we're going to scroll down to appearance and click on widgets. Okay, so this is where we can actually add elements for the sidebar. Now I'm going to collapse this main sidebar, and here we have WooCommerce sidebar. So I'm going to open this, and now we can add elements in the WooCommerce sidebar. So I'll click on add block, browse all. The first thing I want to enter is maybe a search filter, right? Product search. Okay. So we got a product search in there, pretty cool. And now we'll actually click on this again. And I actually want to put in recently viewed products. See, recently viewed product list. So basically, if a customer clicks on something, it'll actually appear on the right side to remind them that they clicked on that product. Next, I'll click on add block. And here we're going to click on browse all. Now, a good idea is just to go scroll down to WooCommerce and just check out anything that you want to add, right? So you can add a cart link, you can add, filter by price, which is very popular, filter by rating, right? So I'll select filter by price. And I want to move this up. So to move this up, I'll click on the up arrow and also up arrow as well. So feel free to actually go through here and just add in any widgets you want for your sidebar. And the last one I'll add is probably like new arrivals, right? So I'll just select new arrivals. And here's like the most recent products we've added on our store. So I'll click on update here in order to save our new WooCommerce sidebar. Now, if we go back to our websites and I have to close out of this, we can actually view the sidebar. So I'll go to the shop page. And if we scroll down, we now have our sidebar here on the left side. And then we have our products here in the middle. And then we have this option, and this allows people to sort by like popularity or something. If you want to turn this off, you can go to the theme customizer right here. And all you got to do under page elements, just disable product sorting. And then voila, it's now gone. So all the products will be displayed here in a really nice clean formats on your actual product page. Now, the very last option that I want to show you all is how to reduce the size of this sidebar. Now, if you click on the edit, you'll only see you can change the position. In order to change the width of the sidebar, you'll go to back, and up here under general options, you'll see sidebar. And here's more options where you can add a specific type of sidebar, and also you can change the sidebar width. Because as you can tell, it was a little bit too large. So maybe like, I don't know, 25%. You can add like a gap right here as well. You can change the inner space to make them more tighter, right? And there's more styling options here for the sidebar if you want to go that route. But overall, that's how you can make a really nice looking shop page and fully customize it with the Blocksy theme. To save the changes on your websites, all you'll do is click on publish here and you're done. And voila, we now have a really nice looking shop page. I mean, we did a really good job. How about that? So that is how you can use the Blocksy theme customizer to really get decorated with your shop page and your product page. So that is pretty much it for the theme customizer. Let's move on to the next section and talk about the WooCommerce settings. So now that our e-commerce website is fully completed, now let's talk about the WooCommerce settings. Now the WooCommerce settings allows us to add our address. It also allows us to set up taxes, adjust shipping, and integrate multiple payment gateways. So by the end of this section, you'll be accepting credit card payments from anywhere around the world. How about that? So in this part of the video, I'm gonna walk you through all of the WooCommerce settings, and by the end of this section, your e-commerce website will be live and ready to go. Y'all ready? Let's go. All right, party people, now let's jump into the WooCommerce settings. Now you can access the WooCommerce settings in the dashboard of your websites. So let's go to the dashboard, and right here under WooCommerce, you'll see that we have a lot of options, right? We have orders, customers. You can explore these options on your own time. Once you get orders, all the orders will be displayed right here. If you click on customers, a list of all the customers on your websites will also be displayed here. So you'll have all the information for them, such as like their username, their email, and everything else. We're going to run a few test orders, and then this will all make sense as we actually add some orders to our websites. But to access the WooCommerce settings, here I'll click on settings, and let's dive into this. Now the first thing you'll do is enter in your store address. So I'm gonna put in a generic address right here. Here you'll enter in your states and also your zip code. Now here you can actually choose who you want to sell to. So for selling location, you can sell to all countries, sell to all countries except for, or sell to specific countries. In this case, I'm just going to put United States and also Thailand. If you haven't been to Thailand, I recommend checking it out. It's amazing. Shipping locations. So ship to all countries that we sell to. That makes sense, right? So we're gonna ship to United States and also Thailand. Default customer location. So here you can select the shop country region, geolocate, or geolocate with page support. I don't really think this works well because sometimes people use CDNs and you might get the wrong address. So I'm just gonna put whatever they put in the billing address right here. So shop country region. Here I want to enable the use of taxes because we are gonna talk about that in just a bit. I also want to enable coupons. If you wanna turn off coupons, you can just disable coupons, right? And the last option is currency. Here you can select whatever currency you wanna select. I mean, look at all these currencies, dude. I don't even know what countries these are for, right? Like, Macanese, Pataka, whatever that is, right? So you'll go ahead and select in your currency. Here you can adjust the position, which doesn't make a lot of sense because the dollar is always on the left side. But once you select those options, you'll then click on Save Changes. Okay, so now we have our store address set up. Now let's click on Products. So next we have the products tab. Now the shop page for some reason is called this right here. Blocksy named it this by default. It doesn't really matter because that's just the page title, right? If we scroll down here, you can change the weight units. In America, we use pounds and ounces. If you're in Europe or anywhere else, you'll use kilograms or grams, right? And also here you can adjust the dimension units to centimeters or whatever you'd want. Here we have reviews. Now I mentioned earlier how reviews can only be left by verified owners. That means people who have purchased the products can leave reviews, right? If you don't want reviews on your website, you can just take off reviews altogether, right? And then also you can enable star ratings on reviews and all these other review options. So once you select those options, we'll click on Save Changes. Now these other options in the products tab, you're probably never going to use. So the only one that you might use is the inventory tab, which basically allows it so you can select a low stock threshold. So if you're running short on products, you can be notified right here, and then you'll get emailed to this specific email, and then this message will show, all right? But that is it for the products. Now the next option is gonna be the tax section. Okay, now I will show you all how to add in automated taxes, but before I do that, I just wanna show you all how to add in basic taxes. So right here, I'll click on standard rates, and now we're gonna insert rates for our store. So I'll click on insert row, and here we have country code. Now, depending on how big you are, if you click on this tab, this will actually show you the country code per country. So for example, I'll scroll down. Algeria is DZ, Angola is AO, and all these different country codes. America is US, right? So for me, I'm gonna put US. Now for the state code, we're gonna put California, right? Which is CA, so that is California. You'll have to go ahead and go over here to TaxStar and find your state abbreviation. But if you're in America, dude, you should probably know this stuff already, right? But I'm just gonna give you a resource if you don't know it. Now here under California, if I hover over this, the sales tax rate is 7.25%. Now I will leave this resource in the video description for all of you, just in case you need help finding your tax rate per your states. But here under WooCommerce, we're gonna go over here to the rates and we're gonna put in 7.25. Now the next option is the compound and shipping. Now, is shipping taxable, right? You can always go to taxstar.com. They actually have tons of resources on if you should charge sales tax. I believe it is not. So we are not going to charge sales tax on top of the shipping. So I'm going to uncheck this. And obviously compound, this is going to compound the tax on top of shipping, but I'm not going to select that because there is no shipping tax in California. Now to save the changes, here I'll click on Save Changes, and that is pretty much it. We're done. Now there is a discrepancy here, right? So digital products are not taxable in California, but physical products are. So how do we do this, right? Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create another rate right here. So I'm gonna click on Reduced Rates, and we're going to insert a row right here. So I'm gonna put United States, California, and for the rates, I'm gonna put 0, right? Then I'll click on Save Changes. So essentially, we have standard rates for basically all of our products on our store, and then we have reduced rates. Now, you can apply this specific rates to specific products. Here we have the designer vase. Now let's just pretend this is a digital product with no sales tax, right? We can scroll down and do this two ways. For the general, under tax status, I can put none, right? Or under tax class, I can assign them the reduced rate. So you can assign specific taxes to specific products, because I do realize tobacco products, vape products, marijuana products, and a few others, they have special taxes that you might need to enter right here. Now I realize this might not apply to you, so if it doesn't apply to you, you can always just remove this and then just have one specific standard rate if you want to go that route. Got it? Okay. Let's go back over here to the standard rates. Now we're also shipping to Thailand, right? So we need to enter in a country code for Thailand. So right here, I'll click on Insert Row. Here I'll put in TH, which is Thailand, right? And we're gonna add a rate of, I believe it's like, 7%. I asked Google over here. They told me that at 7%, we probably need to charge 7% plus our states. So probably like 14%, right? Or 14.25. So I'm gonna put in 14.25%. and then click on Save Changes. Because we need to pay California tax, right? But we also need to pay Thailand tax. So I'm gonna charge a tax rate of 14%. So that's how you can add in country codes and also state codes. If you wanna get in the nitty-gritty, you can always get into the post and the city as well. So now that I showed you all how to do taxes, let me show you all how to integrate automated taxes so you don't have to do any of this if you don't want to. Let's go over here to plugins, and we're going to install a free plugin. How about that? Under search plugins, we're gonna type in shipping. And if I scroll down, you'll see this plugin right here called WooCommerce Taxes and Shipping. This will actually integrate automated shipping. Now, this can be very useful if you are in destination-based states where basically you have to pay the tax where you're shipping to. In that specific case, it'd be a lot better just to install this plugin. But if you're from an origin-based state like California or New York or Florida, then you just enter in your own tax rate. But if you're not still sure, let me just show you how to do this really quick. Here, I'll click on Connect. Next, I'll just sign up with WooCommerce, so I'll click on Continue. Here's the email from WooCommerce, so I'll just go ahead and click on Connect, and voila, we're pretty much done. Now, in order to turn on automated taxes, we'll go back over here to WooCommerce and click on Settings, and then I'll click on Tax. And then for automated taxes, I'll go ahead and turn this on. Now, this information is actually being pulled from the TaxStar API. So there is a partnership with WooCommerce and TaxStar, and this just simplifies the process of setting up taxes for your store. So next, let's talk about shipping. So right here, I'll click on shipping. So let's first add a shipping zone. So right here, I'll click on Add Zone. And then let's give it a name, right? So this is gonna be United States. Okay. And then we'll select the region, right? So I'll put United States, all right? And then I'll click on Add a Shipping Method. So we have three options. We have free shipping, flat rates, and local pickup. Let's first start with free shipping. Here I'll click on Continue. So free shipping requires what? Well, if I click on this dropdown right here, it'll actually give us a few options. A valid free shipping coupon, which we can create later, a minimum order amount or a coupon, or both. I'm gonna select a minimum order amount, and what should this be, like maybe $100, right? So if they spend $100 on our store, they'll get free shipping. Here I'll click on Save and Create. Pretty simple, right? Now let's add in another shipping method. So right here, I'll click on Add a Shipping Method. Now let's say, for example, they didn't spend $100. We gotta charge them shipping, right? So right here, I'll click on Flat Rates, and click on Continue. So we're gonna select a shipping rate of $10 because we're shipping vases, which might be a little bit more expensive. So I'll put in like $10 and then click on Create and Save. Okay, so now we have flat rates. Now let's do one more. Add a shipping method, local pickup. Here I'll click on Continue because some customers might just wanna pick up the product, right? So here I'll just say it's free. So I'll put 0, click on Create, and voila. So now we have free shipping for orders over $100, flat rates, and also local pickup. Now, some products might be more heavier than others. So let me show you all how to assign specific shipping costs per product. To do that, we first gotta save our changes. Oh, done. We'll go over here and click on classes. And I personally like classes. I think this is actually more standard for most e-commerce stores. So right here, I'll click on Add a Shipping Class. And now we can actually create specific categories with shipping costs. So for example, I'll put heavy, all right? And this is, here we go. So this is for heavier products, all right? Here I'll click on Create. Okay, so now we have this specific class. Next, I'll click on Add a Shipping Class, and I'll add one more. This will be lightweight. Lightweight, right? Lighter. And then this is for lighter products. Here I'll click on Create. Okay, so we have heavy and we also have lighter products, right? So now let's go back to shipping zones. Now let's scroll down, and what we're gonna do here is we're gonna click on Add a Shipping Method and click on Flat Rates and click on Continue. Okay, so now that we've done that, you'll see here we have a flat rate, we have tax status taxable, and the cost we're gonna put 0, okay? Now the reason why we selected 0 is because we're going to actually create shipping class costs per product. So a heavy product costs how much, right? Well, I'm gonna put $25. A lightweight product, this is gonna cost $5. And then we have no shipping class cost, which is gonna be $0. Here we can charge per class or per order. I'm gonna stick with per class. I like this better because you can select each product individually. So now that we have those options, here I'll click on create and save. So now we've actually created a shipping class and we also have a standard flat rate across the board. Now let's assign this flat rate to a specific product. But I might want to change this from flat rates to special shipping, right? Okay, just so it's not the same. So now let's go to one of our products. So here's two of our products. Now the vase is a little bit larger, right? So here under vase, I'll click on edit. And if I scroll down under the shipping, we now have the shipping class. So here I can now assign this specific shipping class. So I can put heavy, and now this product will be charged $25. If I select lightweight, this product will then be charged $5. Got that? Okay. So I'll select heavy and then click on updates. And that's it. So now we're assigning specific shipping costs per product. Now we can also select another shipping cost per zone. So right here, I'll click on shipping zones, and then I'll click on add a zone. So we also have Thailand, right? So I'm gonna put Thailand in here and put Thailand. And then I'll click on add a shipping method. And we're just gonna charge a flat rate for Thailand. I don't really think they qualify for free shipping because it can be pretty expensive. And we're just gonna put something like $25, right? So if they're in Thailand, they're gonna be charged 25 bucks for shipping because it is expensive to ship this stuff. In fact, it's actually a lot more than 25 bucks. My buddy actually sent me some credit cards in the mail and it was like $150 just to ship some credit cards from Chase. It was crazy. But anyways, that is how you can assign shipping zones and shipping classes. Now here you have some more options under shipping settings. You can choose to like hide the calculations. And then for shipping destination, you can choose the customer's shipping address, billing address, or for shipping to the customer's billing address. You know, and I do believe this should be set by default because some users have credit cards with different billing addresses, like myself. So I think maybe they should leave this one here as the standard option. So once you select those options, you'll click on Save Changes. Okay, now the next option we're gonna select, we're gonna skip payments for now. Let's go to Accounts and Privacy. So here you can select options like if you want the customer to create an account through guest checkout, you can turn this on or off. So if you want guest checkout, you can leave that enabled. If you don't want that, you can turn it off. You can also let the customer create an account during checkout, which is actually really simple, right? So I do want to have this checked because I want them to create an account during checkout. So, so they're registered on my websites. You can also let them create an account on the My Account page as well. And then here you have some account erasure requests if you want to, mess with those options. But once you adjust these options, you'll scroll to the bottom here and then click on Save Changes. Next, we have emails. Let's click on emails. Okay. Now here you can adjust the emails that are sent from your website. So for example, a new order, here I'll click on Manage. And then you can actually change the actual recipient. Now this is the email that is signed up with WordPress. Under the additional content, you can change this to something else. And then also you can change the subject headline. These emails will automatically be sent by WooCommerce once an action has been taken on your store. So if you want, you can go through these emails right here and adjust them. Like for example, these ones right here are for you, these three at the top, and these ones right here are for the customer. So once the customer has maybe like completed an order, for example, right here, I'll click on Manage. So here's the subject headline, and you can replace this with anything that you'd like, right? So you can just enter something in, right? You can also adjust the email heading and also additional content. And then for the email tab, we're just gonna leave this as HTML because I'm assuming you guys aren't developers, so we don't need to adjust that. Now, once you adjust the changes, you'll click on Save. And then go back to Emails. And then here you can go ahead and just adjust any of the emails sent from your store. Now, there's a plugin that I recommend that's completely free that'll really change the game for your emails. So here's a video that I created. It's about 3 years ago, but this plugin is even better than before. And with this plugin, it's completely free. You can change the color, you can add in elements, and I highly recommend to use this plugin because the default emails with WooCommerce are very ugly. They're really ugly. And this plugin right here allows you to fully customize the order receipt that is sent from your store. So I do recommend to actually install this plugin. Watch this video. It's completely free. It makes a world of difference. So let's go back over here to our store. And now that we talked about emails, we have a few other options that you're probably not going to mess with, like integrations, site visibility. This just makes your website live, right? So you can put coming soon or live. And then we have the advanced options, which allows you to adjust the cart page and checkout page. Now, if you actually delete your account page or something, or your checkout, you can always create a new page from scratch and then reassign it here. Also, for your terms and condition page, you can create one and then assign that page right here for your terms and conditions. And below that, we have endpoints and slugs, which you're probably not going to mess with, and don't mess with these options because you might break something. All right, cool. All right, so now let's go ahead and jump to the next section and talk about payment gateways. So right here, I'll click on payments. Now we're going to integrate Stripe and also PayPal. So I'll first walk you through how to integrate with Stripe, then I'll walk you through how to integrate your website with PayPal. So let me show you how to do that. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to install a plugin. So right here under plugins, we'll click on add new. Under search plugins, we're going to type in Stripe, S-T-R-I-P-E. Now before, I used to recommend WooCommerce's default Stripe payment gateway, but it's not been working out for me lately, and I definitely recommend to install this plugin right here. It is called Payment Plugins. Payment Plugins for Stripe WooCommerce. So make sure to install this plugin here. You'll click on Install Now, and then you'll click on Activate. You can also install the other plugin for PayPal WooCommerce. So I'll also go ahead and click on Install Now, and then I'll click on Activate. Okay, now on the left side, you're gonna see Stripe by Payment Plugins. Go ahead and click on this link right here, and then go to the settings. Now this is actually really simple. So all you need to do is go to stripe.com. Now stripe.com is a free service. It doesn't cost you anything whatsoever. There is no credit check, no monthly payments whatsoever. All you need to do is pay a small transaction fee of every product, but that is standard for the merchant industry. So you'll go ahead and make an account with Stripe. Now I'm already a member with Stripe. I use them for my website, darrellwilson.com. Once you actually make an account, you'll go ahead and sign in. So I'll go ahead and log into my account. So this is the Stripe dashboard, right? And this is basically where all the magic happens. And this is where all the money will be sent to your Stripe account. Now, all you need to do is actually connect this with your bank account, and Stripe will actually automatically send money from your Stripe account to your bank. It's really easy. It's very automated. I highly recommend you go this route, right? So all you need to do is just make sure that you're logged in on the same browser. You'll go back to WordPress and then just click on Connect. You'll then select the account that you're signed up with Stripe. So I actually have 4 accounts. I'll select the testing accounts and then click on Connect. And I mean, that's it, you're done. Like how easy was that, right? Now here you can change this from test mode and also live mode. So just depending on if you want to, run test transactions, you can leave this in test. If you're ready to take live credit cards, you're already ready to go. Just click on live, scroll to the bottom here and click on Save Changes. And now your e-commerce website can now accept credit card payments from all around the world. So congratulations, that's how you can set up credit card integrations on your new e-commerce websites. Now let's go ahead and connect our PayPal. So right here, I'll click on PayPal. Then I'll also click on Settings. Then we're just gonna do the same thing. So I'll click to connect. Now for some reason, they prompt us at the create account. So you'll just enter in your email for PayPal and then it'll bring you to the login page. I don't know why they do that. That's just how it is, right? So I'll go ahead and click on login and that's it. You're all done. So after you do that, it'll automatically sync up with your PayPal. It actually creates the webhook as well and all the information for your PayPal accounts. So at this point, your website will now be accepting credit cards from Stripe and also PayPal. Now we need to turn them on. So right here, I'll click on payments. And you just want to make sure that you turn these on, right? So here we have PayPal Gateway by Payment Plugins. I'll turn this on. And there we go. So now we have PayPal and also Stripe. They also have these other services. I haven't really used these. A lot of these are for different payment services like Amazon Pay, Cash App. They have tons of different integrations. You can also try WooPayments if you want to go that route, but maybe in the future I'll be using them. But for now, I'll just stick with Stripe and PayPal. So now that we have credit cards integrated on our website, now let's actually run a test transaction. So I first want to go back and turn on the test mode really quick. So under the API settings, I'll just change this to test, scroll to the bottom and click on save. And let's buy something, right? So let's go to our shop page. I'll scroll down and I'll add this designer clock to the cart. And here we go. We have our flat rate of $10, or we can choose local pickup. So I'll go ahead and click on proceed to checkout. And here's our checkout page, and I'll go ahead and fill this out. Okay, so I entered in my address. I'll scroll down, and then here we have PayPal. We can go ahead and also select credit cards. So I'm gonna enter in the demo account, which is 424242. If you wanna test credit cards, you'll enter in this number and you can enter in any expiration dates or security code, right? So just make one up. I'll also click on Save Card, scroll to the bottom and click on Place Order. And congratulations, we now received our first order. So this is what the customer checkout process will look like. So here they can view their order number through email. They can see the product, the billing address, and also the shipping address. Now we can also go back to our Stripe account here and just make sure this is working. So here I'll enable test mode. And right here, you'll see that we just received a payment for $31 from our websites. So we know it's synced up and ready to go. So once you're ready to accept real credit card payments, you'll just change this to live, and then you'll be accepting live credit card payments on your e-commerce store. Okay, and once you actually receive a customer, here in our dashboard, you can actually go visit their, go view your analytics. So right here, we have orders. Now we can actually view our order right here. If we click on the order, it gives us all the information about this customer and the order. So here is all the general information for this specific order. Also, if I click on customers right here, it'll actually show a list of the customers now. And once you actually are ready to ship the order, all you'll do is you'll change the status to completed and then click on updates. This just lets your store know that you've actually completed the order and shipped it to your customer. Now, if you ever want to refund an order, you'll scroll down and here you have the refund button. You'll click on refund and then you can type the number right here. So if you want to refund $31, you'll type in 31. Now, since this is a test transaction, it's not going to refund anything. And then here you can give a reason for the refund. Once you actually select the reason and you refund the amounts, you'll click on refund right here. And then this will refund the, the order amounts to your customers. But again, since we're in test mode, nothing happens, but that's how you can also refund to your customers. Let's talk about mobile optimization. So mobile optimization means making sure your websites look good on mobile devices and also tablets. When a website is mobile optimized, it adjusts to fit the smaller screen size of phones and tablets, and it makes it easier for users to navigate your websites. Always make sure your website is fully optimized for all devices to ensure that your users have a good experience. All right, party people, at this point, we're pretty much done, but I do want to run you by one more option, and that is the mobile optimization. I also do want to talk about the My Account page where your customers have all the access to their orders and stuff. So let's go ahead and quickly touch base on those two subjects before I let you all go. Now, to turn on the page builder, here I'll click on Edit with Elementor, and let's talk now about mobile optimization. So here's the landing page that we made earlier. Now here we have the desktop, and then here we have tablet, right? Now, this is what our website looks like on a tablet device, right? Now, obviously, I don't really like this section right here. It's too, it's too blocky, right? Also, scrolling down, you can actually design and modify any part of your store using the actual editor, right? Now, let's go ahead and walk you through this. So let's say, for example, you want to hide this section here. I'm going to right click on this and click on Edit Container, and we can actually hide specific elements for specific devices. Here, I'll go to the Advanced tab. I'll scroll down and I'll click on Responsive. Here you'll see that I hid this on mobile portraits, right? So now this part will not be displayed for mobile portrait. Also, this section here, I do actually want to center this, right? So I'll click on the elements, go to Style, and then here we have alignments, right? Notice here how portraits is selected. Notice here how tablet portrait is selected by default. Here I'll click on Center. And now when the user comes to our website, they're now going to see this specific page, right? And scrolling down here, if we want to adjust this a little bit for the actual, for the tablet. So under the gap, I do want to add a gap here, right? So I just want to make this a little bit, make them a little bit separated, right? So this is generally what it'll look like from a tablet. Now this part right here will disappear. So this part will be the center of the screen, okay? Scrolling down here, if you want to adjust anything, you can just go ahead and adjust it. For example, this text right here is too big, right? So for the typography, I'll click on the pencil, and then for the size, we'll just adjust it like that, right? Just so it's not broken. Same thing here, right? Style, typography, change the size. I think color bases like that is good, right? And then you can do the same thing for clocks and also chairs. And scrolling down, if there's anything that you want to adjust, you can go ahead and adjust it. You can hide elements and also change the size of specific elements. Now you'll also click on the phone icon right here. and I'll go ahead and scroll up. And here we can actually adjust this for mobile, right? So here I'll click on the Flexbox, and I do want to justify this a little bit, right? So I want to put this in like the center, right? I think that looks better, right? Now you can also choose to hide specific elements. So if you don't want this element here, I can click on advanced and then also go to responsive and hide this for mobile. So it'll look something like this right here, which actually looks pretty sharp. We can also adjust the size of this text for mobile, right? So if this is just a little bit too big, we can change it, right? And then this one right here, we can make it a little bit larger, right? Something like that, right? And you can scroll down here and just check out if there's anything that you need to adjust. But I think we did a pretty good job with this template. But mobile optimization, it's important, but most of these templates are already fully optimized. So there's not much for you to do, but that's just an example of how you can optimize your website for all devices. All right, now the last thing I want to show you all before I let you go is the account page. So if you go to the pages and go to account, all the customers will have full access to their account page right here, where they can view their orders, their downloads. So you'll see that we just bought something. So all the customers will have access to their dashboard in the My Account section. You can actually design and customize this using the theme customizer to change the colors and stuff. But this is where the customers can have access to all the information on your websites. So that is pretty much it, party people, for this e-commerce tutorial. I hope you all liked it. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below, and congrats on your new e-commerce store. All right, party people, thank you all so much for watching this e-commerce tutorial. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. I hope this video brought a lot of value. I hope I made this really simple to understand. Also, feel free to check out our template kits if you want a really nice looking e-commerce website for a starter kit. We actually have more than like 400 for like $100. It's a crazy deal. But with that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. My name is Daryl Wilson, and I will see all of you party people in the next video. Take care.